Uh, Hi guys, good evening. Hello, am I audible, guys? Could you please confirm once?
Yes, and you're audible.
Yeah. Hi everyone, how are you? Hey, I'm quickly sharing my screen. I will be taking today's session, guys. Case where is little not well, and let me share my screen. So quickly confirm me if you can see my screen, guys, and my voice is on okay, and everything is fine up. Okay, hi guys. Yeah, I can see your messages. It's nice to see you guys. Hello. Sir is little not well, and I am aware of the topics, whatever is covered. So last topic we covered was how to create objects and what are classes and how to create objects. That was the topic covered in the last session. And I hope you guys remember me from the previous session where I showed you a couple of topics and related to some live projects I showed you. So hope you liked that session. So that day I just gave you an overview how the things are will take you, like what all things you will learn and how you will implement from basics to the pro level and how you can create all those things. So anyways, basics is the key, right? So whatever we are learning here are all basics. So without wasting time, I'll quickly jump to the technicalities. And last session, I'm sure you guys were covered with how to create an object and what is a class, how to create an object. I'm not sure constructor was covered or not, but that's okay. If not, I will cover it now. Okay. So before starting that, uh, like any programming language, we need some variables, right? Like if you create objects, there should be some variables. So we should be aware of these variables also, right? So there are some variables and data types in Java which we should be aware. So I will just give a quick introduction. So on my screen, you can see, let me just minimize this pop-ups. I'm watching your chats for any questions and queries, okay? So the variables basically are used to store the data, right? Suppose you can have different kinds of data which we want to store in a program. Suppose you're creating an application, you want to get some input from the user or you want to send some data back to the user. So it can be number, it can be integers, it can be character, it can be a list of something. So all different kinds of data are there, right? So basically, there are two types of data. One is a primitive type, one is a non-primitive type. So on my screen, you can see the classifications are there. So primitive types can be integer type or a floating type like decimal numbers. Integers will be a whole number. It can be further divided into byte, short, long, int. Decimal numbers, it can be double or float. So these are all numeric type. Non-numeric, you can think of like characters, boolean, true or false. We have 0 and 1 also in C++, right, in the previous languages. But in Java, we have something called as true and false, Boolean value we have. Then we have non-primitive data types, something like a string. Your name, you can think like it's a string, combination of multiple characters, okay? Arrays, group of elements can be arrays you can think of. Then you can have some custom defined classes also. So these are the variables which we will be using it in our application whenever we are creating it. Okay. So that's the definition on your screen. There are different types of variables. There can be instance variables, class level variables, local variables, parameterized variables. Each one of them we are going to see, and you will be familiar with them. As you practice, as you see the program, as you start writing code, you will understand what are these and why we use it, and in which cases we are going to use these variables. Okay. So the data types and their default size, how much space they are going to take in the memory, that is given on the right side. Okay, in bytes, 1 byte, 2 bytes. So different data types, they hold some storage. I mean, some memory they store in the system. Okay, so that is what you have on this screen. Okay, the top four are integer kind, whole numbers, like I said. Float and double, like decimal numbers. Like you can think of a salary, rupees and paise kind of thing, or weight, so much kgs and so much grams, like that. Character, single character, okay, like male or female, like that. Yes or no, y and n, something like that. Boolean, like I told you, true and false. Okay, so this was covered in the previous session, if you remember. we covered like something called as a class and object, classes and objects, right? So class, you can think like it is a template, it is a blueprint. Okay, an object by definition, it's very simple. You can find it out anywhere. Is an instance of a class. So theories are very boring. So with images, we can visualize things, right? So this dog like is a class. It will have some features, right? It can do something. It can eat, sleep, run, and all those things. So these are all the methods. What are the functionalities it can do? So it is like a methods of the dog class. Okay. There can be different kinds of dogs. There can be different breeds of dogs. So you can create different objects, instances of a class, rather than saying different types. You can use the word called instances. So from here only the definition is coming. Okay. So how is the definition getting framed? A class is like a blueprint, like a template or like a structure, right? So it will have some properties, it will have some behavior. Okay. So these are the properties. What is its size, color, age, and the behavior is a dog can eat, run, sleep, anything. So its behavior and its properties. So when you create an instance of a class, that instance, like say this, suppose this is a bulldog, this is a Labrador, or this is German Shepherd. These are all instances of a class. So separate instances you can create out of a template. So as per our requirement, we can define our objects. Okay. So this first one is one object. This second one is a different object. Third one is a different object. So different objects will share the properties and behavior, but they will behave in a different way, right? Their behavior will be different. Okay. So that's how the classes and objects are there in Java, which we have covered. So with programs also, I'll show you how to create it. Okay. So let me show you some snippet. So let's take an example of this snippet. You can see to your screen. There is a class called student. So this is the syntax. This is the syntax of a class. How do you create? So public, this public also is an optional. These are all called as scopes. So there are different kinds of scopes. I'll explain you that later, but this is optional. It can be public, private, protected, or default, but generally class keyword will be there. There will be a keyword called as class. Okay. Uh, there will be a keyword called as class. You can give any name starting with the curly braces. Okay. Inside this, you can define the properties. So like the name, age, nationality, or mobile number, or email ID, and all those things. The behavior. What are the behaviors? They are called as methods. So methods are nothing but the behavior. So you can define it as per your requirement. The variables are the properties or attributes. So that's how the syntax of a class looks like. Okay. So out of this student, you can create some student called say Rohan, Shilpa, Pooja, Ankur, Ankit. You can create different objects. Okay. And you can use it and you can initialize these properties and their behavior accordingly. Okay. So this is what something like it will look. So it's a repetition kind of thing, but hope you got the point. Okay. That's how the class and object. So by definition, object is an instance of a class, and class it's like a blueprint or a template you can think of. Okay. So object is basically the main thing which is like a real world thing which you are going to use. Okay. So that's why we call it as an instance of a class, something which is coming out of the class. Okay. So let me show you some more snippets. So you see this, there is a class called person. There are some properties. So his name, ID, he will be having a unique ID, or say PAN card number or Aadhaar number. Those will be unique, right? Some properties which unique. Name can be duplicate. So two persons can exist with the same name, right? But unique ID cannot be same. Like two persons cannot share the same Aadhaar card number, correct? So that's why he can have a private email ID or Aadhaar number or a PAN number, something unique. Remaining properties can be shared with other objects also. Methods can be anything. So you see, these two people you see on the screen, they are nothing but objects who were constructed out of this class, which was nothing but a template. Okay. So how it looks like? So suppose this is a class. Suppose this is a class. In this, you see there are some properties. So we will be creating something like this. We are going to create an object. So I'll show you the syntax. Class name, space, you can give any object name using new keyword. You again like class name, and there is a parenthesis. This is nothing but a constructor. This is actually a constructor. We call it as a constructor. So once you write this syntax, your object is created. Using this object, you can access the properties and behavior both. Using this object, you can initialize the properties and you can invoke the behavior. Both are possible. Okay. So this is what we are going to see with program. Okay. Clear guys? Any questions so far? Any doubts? Any questions? Anything? All good? Yes, no? Hope you are able to follow. All good guys? Yes, no? Okay, cool. Okay, fine, fine. Now let's see some programs then. Let's see some programs. So you can use any editor. You can create a simple program in Notepad also, like you can create programs in Notepad also, but generally we use editors. So I have Eclipse in my system. I have Eclipse in my system. So I will be showing you with this. So the variables which we created, I'm going to show you some variables, the default values, what it is holding. Okay. No, Ashfaq, I have not written anything so far. I am going to share my screen. I'm already sharing and I'm going to show you some programs. So I'm going to show you simple program how to create an object and the data types, the primitive data types I'm going to show you. Okay, so let me show you something like this. Okay, hope you can see my screen. Okay, I'm going to just maximize it. So this is a simple class I have created. Okay, simple class is created. So suppose in this I have a variable called int number. Okay, so int number, a variable is there. This is a property. Okay, yes, Yamini, I will explain what is boolean. I'll explain all the data types. I'm just going to show you one here now. And I'll show you all the different data types. What is the default value? What happens with that? When to use it? What is the by default? What it will hold if you do not initialize it? Okay. So, but before that, let me just quickly show you how I'm going to write it. So you see, I want to print this every time execution starts from main method, right? From here only the code will execution will start. JVM will start executing the code from the main method. So I want to print the value of this number. So let me initialize this values number two, say 2, 3, 4. Some number, some random number I have given. 234 I am given. So I want to print this. So how can I print it? I'll have to write system.out.println, right? System.out.println. So if I want to print this will give me error. I cannot access this variable. Okay. I cannot access this variable. It is saying I cannot access this variable. Why? Because this variable is non-static variable. Like it is an instance variable. Like it's created inside the class, right? You see this parenthesis, the curly bracket means parenthesis. I'm using the word called parenthesis means curly brackets. Okay. So there are 4 curly brackets. The first one is for class starting at line number 3. I hope the font is okay, guys, for you. Font is fine, right? So the first curly braces is for opening of the class and it is closing at line number 8. Inside this, the first one is for class line number 3 closing at line number 10. For main function starts at 6 and closes at 8. So execution starts from main method, correct? Inside this I've given a sysout. Inside this I've given a sysout. In sysout I want to print my number. So this I'm not able to print. Why? Because this is a object level variable or an instance variable, non-static variable. Anything is fine. You can say anything. So to access this variable, I need an object here. I need an object here. I need an object. So using object, you can call through object. Through, 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 through object, you can print this value. Correct. The question is how to create an object. So it's very simple. Copy the class name. Object name is simple. You can give, let's say I'm going to create an object name as OB. My object name is OB. Okay. So I want to create object. So what do you have to do? Class name space object name space equal to, you have to use a keyword called new. New is a keyword in Java, like void is a keyword, static is a keyword. Similarly, new is also a keyword in Java. New space, again a class name, and then this parenthesis and semicolon. Most of the code in Java ends with a semicolon. Okay. Now I told you I cannot access that directly, right? I need an object here to print this number. To print this number, I need an object, correct? So to print this object, print this property, I need an object here. So what you have to do, already we have constructed this object. This is an object of which class? My class, whose name is my test class. How did I constructed my object? Class name, space object name, then an equal to operator, new keyword, again the class name. Okay. And then after that semicolon. So now I have to access this variable. So using object ob dot, and you see your error will go. This was only missing here. This was only missing. So directly you cannot access this variable. This is instance level variable. This is object level variable. Okay. So to access this, I need an object. So that's how, and that's why I created an object here. Okay. So this is also called as non-static variable, non-static member, non-static or instance variable, anything you can call, okay. Now let me quickly run this and show you whether it's printing or not. Okay, let me just show you the output. You see whatever I have written, it's printing here. You can give a custom message also, like using double quote. You can give some message here, like you can give value is, and then whatever you write, it will print it as it is. Okay. Okay, I hope there are no questions here. If you have, feel free to shoot your questions in the chat. Okay. Okay. Clear? You see, whatever you write, it's Farzana is asking, explain the signature of main. So this is itself is a vast topic. This is all actually interview questions, and you have to understand very basics, Farzana, to understand this. But still, I'll explain you in short. Execution always starts from main method in Java. Okay. Main method signature is like this: public static void main string. This is an array. Array of what? Array of string type. So this is the signature. You cannot change this. You cannot play with this. In this, you can only change this. This is a variable name. Instead of args, you can write your name. You can write say Rahul here. It won't cause any issue. Okay. This is a variable name. It won't cause any issue. This is a variable name. Okay. Yeah, I'm explaining in very short. Okay. So that's the signature. I'm not going into this deep. But apart from that, you cannot remove or add any extra keyword from here. So this, you have to follow this signature. This is the signature of main method. Okay. Execution starts, the JVM starts the execution from the main method. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Now coming to the next topic, which I'm going to show you. This one. So here we have a variable, right? So my question is, suppose if I don't give any value here, if I don't give any value, I leave it as it is, then what it should print? It should print 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. What it should print, guys? Any guess? And why? Guess you can make it easily, but you have to write along with that an answer also. Why? If you know, that's fine. Even if you don't know, that's fine. But at least make a guess. I removed the number which I have initialized initially to 2, 3, 4. Now I'm trying to print it. So what it should print? Any guess what it should print? Value should be nothing. Garbage value we cannot print. Okay, I'm seeing lots of options. Garbage values. So garbage values are coming in C++. Okay, garbage value concept is in C++. Someone says 0. Someone says error. Okay, guys, at least thank you for responding. I can see lots of answers. You guys are understanding it. This is a clear signal for me. That's good. So garbage values concept is there in C++, not in Java. Okay, so it will print the default values. Okay, null is there, but not for integer. Let me show you. It's good. You guys are responding. That's very good. See, value is coming as 0. Okay, value is coming as 0. So in Java, the variables which we have seen, you see there are some variables, right? We saw initially. I showed you one example. Okay, so these are the various data types, right? Various data types. So if you do not initialize them, by default, it will hold some default values of its own. By default, it is going to hold some default values of its own. That's what we are trying to figure out. Okay, what are the default values if I don't initialize it? So let's take something else. Let's take something else. Okay, instead of int, let me take as boolean. So boolean, someone asked what is boolean. So boolean is just like a yes or no, true or false. Okay. Am I teaching properly? Someone says no. Then in terms of Java, you can say false. No, you are not teaching properly. False. Am I teaching too fast? You can say true. So true and false, kind of like this. Okay. So I'm going to print the default value. Okay, I'm going to print the default value. So let's see. Let's see. I'm going to print the default value of the variable. I'm going to print it. I just changed to boolean. Okay. Initially it was int. So to show you back again, you see value was 0, right? Now I'm going to run the program after changing from boolean to int to boolean. Let's see what it prints. You see it prints false. Okay. So we are seeing if we do not initialize, the JVM is initializing the variables to its default data types. Correct. And how are we going to access it? How did we access it? We access it through object name. We created objects, right? We have created objects. Okay. Now let me show you one more thing. So let me create a function. Let me create a function. Let me create a function. So function is nothing but a piece of code which you can execute it as many as number of times you want. And just by creating an object, if it is a non-static function. So what is static? What is non-static? That also I'm going to explain you. In the same program, I'll explain everything. Okay, it will be very easy for you to understand. I'll not leave a chance for a doubt, but still you guys can throw your questions. I'm watching your chat. Okay. So let me show you. So this one I told you like it's a non-static variable, right? Now let me show you static variable. So static variable will be nothing but let me take it back as int only. Let me take it back as num. Let me instead of this, I'm taking it as a roll number. Let's make it something meaningful. Roll number. So here also I'm changing it to roll number. Okay. And by default, roll number is printing as 0. Okay, default data is already you know. So for now, just I'm just initializing this to 1002. This is the some random number of a student. I'm just taking it. Okay, just for demo for this purpose I'm taking. Okay, so value instead of this value, let's take roll number. Roll number is something like this. Okay. Now I want to print a name. Okay. I want to print a name. So now I can take it as a string data type. Okay. String is another data type. String name. And I'm not going to initialize anything here. Okay. I'm not going to initialize anything here. And I want to print what is the value of this. So you guys have to make a guess. Okay. You guys have to make a guess what is going to be the output. Roll number is and name is. Name is what and roll number is what. This is what you have to guess it. Okay. Name. So name. So name is of string type. Okay. I have not given anything. Just focus here. I haven't given anything. So I want you guys to make a guess. Okay. You have 1 minute to answer. 12 space name. It's 1002 anyways. -1 null. I'm seeing lots of responses. Character. Okay. Rahul. Okay. Okay, fine guys. I see lots of answers and most of you are correct. Yes, you guys are correct. It will give the number, whatever is initialized. And for name, we haven't initialized anything, so it will come as null. So by default, string holds null. Okay. Now let's try to make some changes. Small changes I'm going to do. Small changes. I'm not going to make a very complex program for you. It will be very simple and you will understand everything. Okay. I'm going to add one more variable for you. One more variable I'm going to. So this is a static. This is also an example of non-static instance variable. Okay, non-static instance variable or property, anything you can say. So this is also non-static. I'm going to show you one static now. Okay, it's nothing but a static keyword will be used, just like public, static. You see there is a keyword here, main method. You see a static keyword, right? Variables can also be static in Java. I'm going to show you one. So let me take a property. I'll take a property called, what can be a property to a student? Let's say student. Let me take his mobile number. Okay. So we take his number. So I'll take long, or rather than that, I will take his weight. Okay. I'll take weight. I don't know why I'm taking this weight. I wanted to use float. Okay. That's why I'm taking weight. So I want weight should be in floating type or double type, correct? So I'm taking double weight. Okay. And I am going to give some weight to this guy. Let's say he's very healthy guy. Let's take 70 kg and he's 56 something, this much grams. Okay. So this is his weight, some random guy. Okay. I don't think it's my weight. Okay. It's just a random weight. My point is, I'm going to show you something here. I'm not going to make it as a non-static instance variable. I'm going to make it a static variable for you. So I know you will be asking question, what is a static variable? I'll explain it. Give me some time. Just bear with me. But something you are going to learn is called a static variable. So you already know there is a function called main. So this main, it's a static function. Why? Because there is a static keyword in the main function signature. Okay. Similarly, this variable is a non-static variable because there is no static keyword here. But this variable, I want to make it static. Simply add a static keyword here, static, and your variable becomes static here. What is this? What's the use of a static variable and all? I'm going to explain you in a while, but let's bear with me for some time. I hope we are good so far. Okay, this is a keyword in Java. It's just the difference. These two are static, non-static variables, and this is a static variable now. Okay, here guys, thumbs up, yes, no, everything good? Yes, quick responses. Okay, so now how do I print this weight here? So I'll have to give one more sysout. I'll have to give one more sysout. Okay, I'll have to give one more sysout here. Okay, I'll have to give one more sysout here. I want to print the weight of the student. Okay, that's my intention. I want to print weight, WEIGHT. Suppose if I'm giving typos, spelling mistake, ignore me for that. My grammar is very weak. Weight is OB dot weight, correct? I can use weight. Okay. So you see, I'm able to print weight also, right? I'm able to print weight also. Then let me run this program for you, whether weight is coming or not. So I'm able to print weight also. Okay. No problem with this. Everything is fine. Then you should ask me a question. Then what's the point of bringing this static? Why did you bring it? Why the hell you brought static? And what the hell is this yellow thing? You should ask me like this. Okay. So this is nothing but static variables, actually class level variables. Non-static variables are object level variables. Non-static, they are object level variables. Okay. Instance level variables or object level variables. You see, I have written object level variables. This means they can be accessed only through object. Only through objects they can be accessed, or instances of a class. Okay. Now Meghna asked, what is the package? So package is nothing but where this program is placed in my system. Exactly where is this program lying, Meghna? That's the thing. Okay, you see in this path, this program is there. This is what a package is, where you have placed the source code. Okay. Now coming back to this question, this static variable. Okay. So I'm able to print it through object. Okay. Okay. Why have you accepted string? You can give anything. I just showed you this is a variable name. You can write args. You can write anything. This is a variable name. Okay, Harsh. I just for demo purpose I wrote it, that you should not fix your mind that args is the rule. It's not a rule. It's a variable name. You can change it anything. Okay. String, it's a signature. This is a signature of main method. Okay. We'll discuss when we are discussing main. Let's focus on class and objects here for a while. Okay. So coming back to this topic, I have a static variable here. How am I accessing it? Through object name. So let me run this. Let me see whether I am able to print or not. I'm able to print it. Now, question is why this warning symbol? This warning symbol says because JVM is smart enough to understand our code. High level, it can understand everything. So it is saying this is not an instance variable. This is a class level variable. Class level variable. So with that, you might have got some idea. You might have got some idea. Class level variable. So if object level variables can be accessed through object name, roll number can be accessed through ob.roll, then definitely class level variable can be accessed through class name. Correct? Class level variables can be accessed through class name. That's why, okay, that's why we can access this instead of ob, you can write class name also. So name of my class is name of my class is name of my class is like my name.class, and you see this error is also now gone. You see it was not error, it was actually warning. Okay, so now you see I'm accessing my variable through a class name, and this variable is a class level variable. Now, if I run the code, still I'm able to get the output without any issues. So this variable weight is a static variable which can be accessed through object name and through class name. Both ways you can access it. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to create a function here for you. So what is a function? What is a function? It is a piece of code. Okay, I'm going to minimize it. Let me minimize it. I'm going to create a function. In this function, okay, a function is nothing. A function is nothing. Like in function, you might have, if you have aware of C, C++, you know what's a function. Same thing is here also. Function is nothing, but let me show you the nodes first. Let me show you high level nodes. What is actually a function? Okay, and then we can jump to program directly. So functions, functions. Okay, functions. Okay, so your function will be something like, it will be a block of code. It will be a block of code which inside which you can write something what that function will do, and you can keep on executing that function as many as number of times you want to call it. So it will be looking something like this. A function signature will look something like this. A function signature will look something like this. There will be a name to the function. In my case, in the snippet which you are seeing here, there is a function called as addition. Okay, with the word addition, you might be thinking, okay, there is definitely some numbers will be there which we will be adding, and it will be giving me some output. So let's take very simple example like a kid. We are going to add two numbers and we want to get an output. Correct? So two numbers you want to add. So you think of this addition as a robot. Okay, so this addition is a robot, or someone you can think like a person to whom you are going to give two inputs. Okay, this is first number, this is second number. These two numbers I'm going to give you, add it and give me the result. Okay, so operand 1, operand 2, these are all nothing but parameters. They're also called as parameters to the function addition. So you are giving it operand 1, operand 2, I mean number 1 and number 2. So what this guy will do internally in the pair of code, in this piece of code, it is going to do the sum. Okay, so for temporary calculation, he has taken a variable in sum. In sum, it is adding 1 and 2, both first operands, first two parameters it's adding, and it's returning the sum. So some calculation is happening, right? Some integer kind of calculation is happening, and some integer kind of result is also going to come back, correct? So this is the return type. What is the return type? Is it going to return something or not? Yes, it is going to return me the sum. Correct? It is going to add some numbers and it is going to return me the sum. So this is nothing but the return type. If you want to return something, return it, int, float, boolean, anything, or any primitive or non-primitive data type, you can return it. Suppose instead of doing addition, you just want to print hello. You just want to print your name. Hello, how are you? So in that case, I don't want to return anything, right? I just want to give a sys out. So in that case, instead of giving some return type, you can write void. So functions can be two type, void or with some return type. So here in this case, it is integer. So these both things, what I just explained, I'm going to show you with the program. Okay. So let's take our example. So our example, what we are doing, you see, in the main function, I keep on writing so many sysouts, right? I'm keep on writing so many sysouts. So there are many data types in Java, right? Int, boolean, byte, short, float, long, double, so many data types. If I keep on writing, I'll have to write so many sysouts here in the main method, right? So what I can do, I can just take this piece of code out from here and I can create one function. I can create one function like show, let me first maximize it. Let me first maximize. Hope the font is okay, guys, for you. Okay. Hope the font is fine. And my battery is discharged. Just a second, guys. Is the font okay, guys? Okay. Okay, fine. So yeah, thank you guys. I got it. Yeah, let's create a function like you gave me a good name also. So let me use that name, display data. Okay. Display uh, default default values display default values of data types. So my functions will look something like this, correct? So my function signature will be something like this. Where is that? So you see something like this. Function name will be there. It can have a return type or not, maybe void or maybe not. Some parameters optional and a body. So similarly, I'm going to create a function. So how do you create a function? A function name should be there. You can give any name. Then a parenthesis is needed. Then a pair of curly brackets is needed. Okay. After this, a pair of curly brackets is needed. And what this function is going to return? When you are going to call this function, what is it going to return? So if you want to return something, you can give something, or else you can just give void. Okay, I don't want to return anything. So this is a function name. It is going to do something. Okay, it is going to do something. So in this, let me first write a system. And I will ask him to do something. Do something. Okay. Do something. What it will do, it will sing, it will dance, I don't know, but let's write this program. So far, what we have done, we have created two non-static variables, one static variable. In the main function, what I have done, in the main function, this one is nothing but object construction, object construction, construction. I'm stressing this word for a future term. Okay, I'll show you why I'm stressing to this term, construction. Okay, so object is constructed and using object name, access non-static variable through what? Through what we access here? Through object, right? We access here through object, correct? Now, static variable, how did we access here? Through class name, access through class name. Okay, C is left, so it becomes last, as is correct, class name. Okay, so we are accessing static variables through class name. We can even access through object name. Okay, you can even access through object name. We have seen this also. Now there is a function. Let me run this so far. So what should be the output? Do you think this line will get printed? Do something. This line which we have written in function, will it get printed? Do you think this will print it? Is it printing? No, right? Because function is created. Sorry, a function is created, right? This is a function. This is a function. Okay. This is my function. You created a function, or you can say this also called as Java. In Java, this is also called as a method. Okay? So we have created a function. But we are not calling this function, right? You're not calling this function, you're not invoking this function. So someone has to call this function, right? So execution always starts from main function, correct? Main itself is a function. If you see, main itself is a function. There is a name, there is a return type like this void. Here also we have void. You can give this public, private, protected, you can give anything, that is optional. But minimum requirement is it should have a return type, it should have a name, it should have a parenthesis, it should have a curly bracket. Inside this, if you write something or don't write something, that is also optional. That is also optional. But the minimum requirement to create a function is it should have a return type, it should have a name, it should have a parenthesis. Inside this also you can pass anything, that is also optional. You can write here string s, you can pass anything. These are all optional, but the minimum requirement, minimum without which you cannot create, is all things are mandatory. So this function is not returning anything. Okay. So let me create one more function which is returning something, which is returning something. Okay. So create one more function which is returning something. It will just return something. So return means it is going to return something. So I'll show that later, but let's try to print this function. Let's try to call this function. That is our intention now. Okay. So I'm going to invoke this function. So you already have an object, right? So using object, we saw like a class. In a class, you can have objects. Using object, you can access properties. You can even access the behavior of this, like this methods also you can access using object. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, so this object, I mean, we have an object, right? So I have going to call through object. My object name is ob dot, and my function name, you see this function I'm getting here, display default values, right? So you have to call something like this, object name dot function name. And then if you have any parameters passed, here also I'm not passing anything. So here also I will not pass anything. So now I'm invoking my function through object name and I'm going to run it. So you see now I will be getting this do something sys out. So this is coming from a function. This is nothing but a function without any return type. My function or method without any return type. Okay, return type. Okay, any questions, guys? So far, all good? Are we good so far? Is it getting tough, complicated, easy, interesting, understanding? Yes, no, fast, slow? Please put your comments, guys. Okay. Okay, clear, interesting, nice. Okay, guys, fine. Okay. Yes, I can see comments in YouTube also. That's good. Nice, guys. Okay, fine. You guys are understanding. That's really good. And you guys are already smart enough to write complex programs. I'll write complex programs now then. Okay. So let me show you something. So till now we saw there is non-static variable, there is a static variable. So this function is a static function or a non-static function? This is a non-static function because there is no static keyword here, just like variable name. Okay. So I'll write one more thing. I'll write first. Okay, let me just zoom it for a while. This function is not returning anything. Let me show you a function with some return type. I'll show you a function with some return type. So a function will be say there. It will just return a string called good evening. Good evening, guys. Java is fun. Something like that. I'm going to return a function, and it will say like display message, something like that. Display message. Okay, I want to display message for you all, and I want to write this in curly bracket, and I want to display something for you, right? So I want to return something. This function should return me something, right? So it should return me a string. Whenever I call this function, it should return me a string. So that's why I'm getting return here. You see here void was there because I don't want this function to return anything. It will do something inside only. It is not going to give me something back whenever I'm calling. So I'm invoking my function here, right? Line number 17, I'm invoking the function. Invoking or calling, anything is fine. You say anything, invoking or calling, anything is fine. Calling, what kind of function? Static or non-static? Here in my case is non-static because static keyword is not there. Non-static non-static function through 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 why am I making so many typos? Through object name. Okay, object object name. Okay, so this is a non-static function. This was our non-static function, right? Display default value. This is the function line number 22. So this was a non-static function. I will write here also my non-static function. Correct? My non-static function. How am I calling it? Without any return type, directly through the object name I am able to call it. Correct? Now this is a function with some return type. So let me make it a function. It's just reverse of this. Just reverse of this. Just reverse of this. I'm going to do. I'm going to do just reverse of this. Let me zoom it for a while. Then I'll reduce the size. Okay, so that you understand with full clarity. The function is there without any return type. There is a function with some return type. So here I'm getting an error. So you should think why this is happening. So you see there are error messages also coming. It must return something. So I know I have to return something. It's saying you have to return string. If you want to return integer, just change it to int. Okay. If you want to return integer, then you have to change it to int. Type should be int. Return type should be int. So I just want to return a string here in my case. Okay. I want to return a string here in my case. I want to return a string. Okay. I want to return a string, and in this I want to return something. So let me just display a return. You have to use a keyword called return. Okay. Return is because you want to return something, right? In this function, there was no return type, but this function has to return something. That's why we are giving. So what I want to return? Some string value. And string should be in double quotes, right? String should be in double quote, correct, guys? So in double quote, you can return anything and put a semicolon at the last. So here you want to return. Let's give us a message. Java is so easy. Okay, it's actually so easy. So I'm giving some message. Okay, so this function, can you tell me whether it's a static function or a non-static function, guys? Is it a static function or non-static function? Line number 27. Non-static function, correct? There is no static keyword here. So I'm going to use a keyword called as static. If you make it static, so just like this, it becomes a static function. Only difference is this function is non-static function. My display message becomes a static function. How? Using static keyword. You just wrote static keyword here. Now, how do I call this function? How do I call this function? So through object name I can call, right? So let me just run the code. As of now, I'm running the code. Nothing will happen. I have not invoked the function, guys, so far. So do something is only coming. Okay. This function display message Java is so easy is not coming because I have not called that function so far. So my function name is display message, right? So this I have to call. So through object name I can call. Yes or no? Can I access through object name? My static function. Yes or no? You can access. You can access. Display obj dot display message. You see it's coming. Okay. You can call the static function also through object name. So let me run this function. Sorry, run the program. So now you see, do something. It's coming. And did I save it? Let me save it. Let me save it. Display message. And you see, I'm running this program. Am I getting any output? You might be thinking, where is the output? Where is this so easy coming? It's not coming, right? Not coming, right? So actually what is happening? This display default methods, you see, the first function is giving some output. So inside there is some sysout, correct? Inside the display default values, there is a sysout here. So it is printing do something. But my function, which is display message, it is returning a string. This is returning a string. So definitely it is returning something. So you can hold it. So you can hold it. You don't need to write sysout like this. it's inside this. If you write a sysout, it will work. Suppose if I write a sysout inside this, my function is actually running. I'm just writing a function here. So you see, I'm just writing here working. Okay, it's working actually. Your function, your code is actually working. Your code is working, but this line I want to print, right? Let me run this. I just added a sysout here. Okay, I'm doing nothing special. I'm just running a sysout. So it's actually working. Your code is working. This sysout is working. But this is not I want to print, right? I want to print Java is so easy, right? That's my intention, correct? So I don't want to print this. This is working, I'm sure. My program is running fine. There's no issue with this. But how to print this? So this one is actually returning a string, right? This is actually returning a string to you. This is actually returning a string to you. So what you can do, you can just store it. You can store it like a variable string. You can store a variable called message is equal to, suppose like this. If you want to print like this, and then you can just give a sysout here, sysout, and you can print message. Okay, so inside this, if I give here a test, I'm giving a here, what I'm giving here, just watch carefully guys, what I'm doing here. Okay, what I'm doing here is I have taken a string message. Okay, I've taken a string message here. Guys, my screen is visible, right? Sagar is saying can't see the screen. Is my screen visible to everyone? Okay. Okay, Sagar, you can rejoin. Everyone is able to see my screen. Okay, so guys, you see line number 19. I've taken a string, just testing message. Okay, I'm just taken a variable to take test. So forget this line now. This line, and you can put it in comment. Double slash means comment. It is not going to work. Okay, and let me delete it for a while actually. So you can print it something like this. So if you print now, you see your message will get printed. Test will come now. You see this test is coming, right? From where it is coming, this message you have initialized to something, correct? And you are getting it in the message variable and you are printing it. But already there is a function to whom I have given a task, boss. Whenever I'm calling you, I want you to give me a string. Your job is to give me a string. Your job is to give me a message. I'll simply call you, you give me a string message, which I will store it somewhere and I will use it in my program. Okay, I'll repeat again. There is a guy, there are two guys. One guy is there which is having a sysout inside only. It has a sysout inside only. So it's very happily it is printing the value. Do something. But the second guy, I have not given any sysout here. This function has a return type of string. Rather than void, I have a function of return type as a string. So whenever you call this function, I'm telling you, boss, whenever I'm calling you, you have to give me a string. Okay, you will give me a string that I will be using it to print it in my code. So this test message, I have printed it for printing it here, something like this, right? So this test is getting printed, correct? So rather than me giving any value to this guy, I have a function here, right? Something called as display message. Let me call him and ask him to give me this string, which I can print. Okay, he will give me this string. I'm not going to type anything. I will just call this function display message. Display, display, display message. I'm going to call this function called as display method. Sorry, display message using ob dot display message. Okay. So ob dot display message object name dot function name like this. You see object name dot function name. Here also I'm calling the same thing. You see object name dot default values. So this was printing this sysout, but here I am calling the display message function. It is going to give me a string. This is going to return a string, which I'm catching it in a string kind of variable. And this message now I am printing it here. Okay. Now let me try to run this program for you. Okay. Now let's see whether this is printing this or is it not printing. So I'm going to run this code for you. You see, it is now printing. Java is so easy. So how is it printing? Because this function display message, its return type is string, not void compared to the previous function. So it is returning me something. This something I have to store it in a variable. This something I have to store it in a variable, and then I can print it. Okay. Any questions, guys? Any doubts so far with this program? Are we good? And I'll show you the next steps. Are we good so far? All good, guys? Yes, no, easy, fun, understanding. Harsh is saying I'm using Notepad. How to run it? So in Notepad there is a command. Save the file as .java file. Java C file name .java. And in the command prompt again write Java file name. So that way you will be able to execute Harsh. Okay. Okay. So guys, I have some questions and some things you need to observe here. Just be careful. So let's go back to variable. Roll number, name, they are static variable or non-static variable? Roll number and name. Non-static variable. How do we access? Through object name. Okay. So can I access my non-static variable through class name? First question. I'm asking again. Instance variables. These are all instance variables, right? Instance variables. Can I access it through class name? Just like static variables. So instead of ob.roll, can I write my test like this? No, right? So this is a non-static variable, cannot make a static reference. So non-static variables cannot be accessed through class name. Okay. So they can be accessed only through object name. Okay. That's why we created an object here. Okay. I hope it is clear. Okay. Now, my static variable, this is a static variable. Weight is a static variable, right? So static variable, can I access it through object name ob dot? Answer is yes, I can access it. But I will be getting a warning, yellow one. This is not an error, okay? This is a warning. So this is a class level variable, static variable, so you can access it through class name also. So that's why it is saying don't access it through variable name. JVM is saying if you can access it through class name, then go with the class name only. Okay. So I can access my static variable through class name as well as object name both. Now coming to function. So this display default values. Display default values. Is it a static function or non-static function? It's a non-static function, right, guys? There is no static keyword here. So this non-static function, I'm using it to invoke through object name, right? Can I invoke it through class name? Can I invoke a non-static function through class name? Yes, no? Do you can I invoke it? My non-static function through class name? No, we cannot invoke it. That's what non-static means. They are instance level, whether it is a variable or a function. Non-static members can be accessed only through object name. Static members can be accessed through both class name and object name because they are class level variables or properties. Okay. So that's why this is giving error. You cannot access non-static variable through or function also through object name. Same thing, line number 19, this display message, it's a static function, right? It's a static function. So rather than calling it through object name, I can call it through class name also. So this warning will go away. Okay. Clear? So now we have seen how to access static variables, static members, static function, non-static function, all these things we have seen. Now coming to the default values of data types. We started from there, right? So that's why I took the session in that way so that you get an idea what is an object, what is a class, what is a variable, what are the default values of data types, how to access a static function, how to access a non-static functions, all these things we are good. What is a function with return type and without return type? Okay. So all these things we have seen. Now let's see a program. I'll show you one program. I'll show you one program. In that you will be able to see. Can we access static? Shraddha has a question. Can we access static variable directly using variable name? Okay. So let me show you this part also, guys. Okay. So that's a good question, Shraddha. So see, how many classes are here in this program? As of now, we have only one class, right? There is one single class, one single main method, correct? One single class is there. I'm just minimizing it. You see, I'm just minimizing everything. There is a class, single class. Okay. One single class is there. Okay. In this, there is a function, and this is the main function, and these two functions we have created, right? We have created it. So if these variables, functions, if you are using it within the same class, no, then you can even access the items directly also. You can access the members, variables, or properties directly also. What I mean to say is, suppose in the main function, this is the main function, right? This is the main function. So rather than using object to print the roll number, so can we write something like this roll? So you see this roll number, first of all, is it a static variable or non-static variable? You have to figure out that. So this roll number is a non-static variable, right? So non-static members has to be used through object. There is no choice. Non-static variables or functions or anything has to be accessed only through object name. There is no other option. Static members can be accessed through class name, object, or directly. Okay. So this one has to be accessed through object name only. But what about weight? This weight, it's a static variable, right? The static variable we can access through class name. We can access through ob.object name. We can even you can even access directly. So static variable, if it is within the same class, can be accessed directly, can be accessed through class name, can be accessed through object name. Okay, 1 second, guys. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, the static variable can be accessed directly, object name or class name. All three options are possible. But non-static variables can be accessed only through object name. No choice. You don't have a choice. Okay. It's clear, Shabda? Okay. Now coming back to our program, starting where we started, the default values of data types. That's what I'm going to show you now. So by default, you saw if I don't initialize roll number, it is going to take 0. String, it is going to take null. So we are going to see different data types and their values we are going to see. Okay, we are going to see that. So let me show you quickly one program. Primitive data type. Okay, I explained that, Sagar. Just now I explained static variable you can access directly also through class name, also through object name, also if within the same class. Non-static variables, there is no choice, you have to go through object only. Okay, so let me show you one program, simple program. Okay, don't get scared with number of lines of code. It's very simple. Just copy paste and it's very easy. Okay, so there is a class, my class name here is primitive data type. Okay, in this in this in this okay, before that I'll show you one more thing, one small thing. One small thing I'm going to show you. I have stressed that where have you constructed the object, guys? Object construction, where did we do line number? Can anyone tell me in which line number have I created the object? Can anyone tell me in which line number did I create an object? Can anyone help me? Okay, 11. So I have written here a word called as object construction. I'm repeating again, object construction. So there is a concept in Java called as constructor. Okay. So if you understood function, if you understood function, then constructor is just 2 minutes concept. Okay. Constructor is similar to function without return type. That is a constructor. Okay. So constructor is, so let me first copy this whole piece of code. For a while, I'm just putting it in a notepad. Okay. I'm going to just edit it. That's why I'm keeping it here. I've kept it as a backup in the notes. Okay, so I'm going to just show you quickly so that it becomes clean and you are able to catch up easily. So I'm just deleting everything. Okay, I'm deleting everything. We are back to our simple code. Okay, let me remove this also. Okay, I hope you don't have any problem with this program. Okay, what are the things here? I'm just removing this also. Okay, so what are we left with, guys? Nothing, right? Let me remove this also. You guys will be thinking what I am doing, right? So I'm making it very simple for you. That's what I'm trying to do. So I told you, right? You can create a function. So let's create a function. Actually, we are going to learn constructor, but let me show you a function first quickly. We'll create a function. So that's how a function looks like, right? A function, you can have a function, my function, correct? Something like this you can create, right? We can create a function like this, correct? Yes or no, guys? It's a function, right? Line number 9 I'm saying. Line number 9 I'm saying, guys. Line number 9 is a function, right? You can create any name. So constructor, the constructor is nothing but a function without any name and without without name. It should be there. Name should be exactly the name of the class. Return type should not be there. I'll repeat again. Constructor is something. Name should be same name as the name of the class without any return type. Then it is called a constructor. Okay. So here if I write here, suppose I write here sysout, I write here sysout, and I write here my function. Okay. I write here my function. So how do we call this function, guys? How do I invoke this function? Can you help me, please? How do I call this function? Let me run this program first. What will be the output? You see, there is no output. There is no output because this function is created, but it is not called in main, right? So you have to construct an object, right? So let me construct an object here. So I'm going to construct an object. OB is equal to new and then constructed. And can I call now? Will I get an output now? Still no output. Why? Why still no output? Because we have not invoked the function, right? We just created the object. You have to call the function also, right? Obj dot whatever your function name is there. You have to invoke through object. Then you will get the output, right? You just created the function, created the object, but you are not invoking it. So that was the issue. Okay. Now, and to comment something in Java, right? To comment something, you have to use backslash. You have to use backslash. If you use backslash, that piece of code will not be executed. That is how you create a comment in Java. So you see this grayed out. Things will not work. Okay. So here things will not work. So this comment means this will not work. It's gone. Backslash two backslashes means it's commented. Okay. Now my point is I was telling you how to create a constructor. What is a constructor? How to create it? Constructor is something used to initialize the properties. Okay, we use constructor, but how to create it? Let's see the syntax and then we can discuss on that. So constructor is something, I told you it will be having this name. It's just similar to function. A constructor is exactly similar to function. So let me create it. If I'm saying similar to function, then let me create the same thing. So I'm going to create my constructor here, not function, my constructor. Okay, my constructor. So constructor, it should not have a return type. Number one, it should not have a return type. Number two, its name should be exactly the same name as your class. That's all. If you do this much, your constructor is ready. Your constructor is ready. That's all. So what all I did, I'm going to show you back again. A constructor is exactly similar to a function, 99% same as a function. What you have to do, remove the return type and replace the name of the function to the same name as that the name of the class, and your constructor is ready. Okay, clear, guys? How to create a constructor? This is how you create a constructor. Constructor is nothing but it is used to initialize the properties of a class. We'll see in the coming sessions and upcoming sessions, all these topics will be covered. As of now, are you good with the syntax? Any questions? Yes, no? Okay, all clear? Then let me create an object. Let me create an object. Then how do you invoke this? How do you invoke this constructor? So you know how the constructor will be called? How the constructor will be called? Let's first create the object. So it will be called through object name, right? We'll be creating something called as ob dot and my new test class. You are thinking something like this we should call, right? It's a name is same as that of function, then you should call something like this, no? You might be thinking like this, right? No, we'll see how to create. Let's first create a construct. I mean object, and then we'll see whether this is working or not. Okay, let's first create an object. So two switchouts should come. One for your function when you call the function ob.my function. This one we have to figure out how it will be invoked. So let's first create the object. Let's first create the object. So I'm going to create the object. Your class name space ob is equal to new. It's equal to new, and then your object is created. The moment you create an object, I'm not doing anything so far. Okay, let me remove this line also. Okay, it's all commented out. What I'm doing here, I just created an object. I've just constructed an object. The moment you construct an object, let's just run this program. What happens? What I'm doing, am I calling my function? No. Am I calling my constructor? No. I'm not doing anything. I've just created an object. Correct now? Yes or no, guys? I've just created an object. Neither I'm calling my function through object name, nor I'm doing something special with my constructor. Okay. This is nothing but a constructor. Okay. This is nothing but a constructor. Okay. Okay. So this is a constructor. So I just created an object. I'm not doing anything special. So let's simply run this program. Whether something is going to happen or not, you'll see what's happening. You see your constructor is getting called. Okay. The moment you create an object, the moment an object is created in the JVM in the memory, constructor is getting called. So can I create now to call this function? I have to use ob dot your function name is my function. So now if you call, both will be invoked. Okay, both are getting invoked. Constructor is automatically invoked the moment you create the object. Function you have to call, or else it will not be called. Okay, clear, guys? Is it fine? Okay, now let me show you one more thing. One last thing I'm going to show you. Now, you see this function. Let me just comment it out for a while. Okay, I'm saving the file. I've commented this piece of code where I'm calling the function. I have only object construction here, or rather, let me delete it. Let's keep it clean so that you get more clarity. Object is created. I'm running the code. I'm running the code. I'm running the code. Okay, so your constructor is getting invoked. Okay, now can I create multiple objects in my class or not? Like I want to create 4 objects. I want to create ob1. I want to create ob2. I want to create ob3. I can create, right? I can create n number of objects for my program, right? A dog can be German Shepherd, Lebra, or Pomeranian, or anything, right? We can have n number of objects for our class, right? So I have multiple objects. I have multiple objects for my class. Now I save the file. I'm going to run the code. Okay, now let's see what happens. 4 objects, 4 times this constructor is getting automatically called. So what we are learning from here, the constructor number 1 is invoked automatically as soon as the object of the class is created. Number 2, the constructor will be called as many as number of times there are as many as numbers of objects created. Okay, so are we good with these 2 concepts, guys? Yes or no? All good? Now you are thinking, why do I need to create a constructor, right? Why do I need to create a constructor? It's very simple. I'll just explain you that. Why do you need a constructor? To initialize the property. Initialize the property. What I mean to say is, let me just remove this. So I have only one object here. I'll quickly run this program and show you the output. One time constructor is okay. So I'll just create a property for you. I'll just create a property quickly for you. So this property, suppose I am creating a property called here string message. Okay, and I'm not giving any value. Okay, so in the function, my function, let me take. I'll just write my function is fine. My function is fine, and then inside this function, let me give a sys out here. SYSO sys out. Okay, and I'm taking this constructor to the top for you. I'm just cutting it from here, and you can place it anywhere. Execution will anyway start from the main function, so you can put your code anywhere. That's fine. Your function also, this function also, I'm keeping it on the top. Okay. Now in the main function, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just print message. Okay. So what should be the message coming, guys? What should be the output now? Anyways, I need an object too. So this error is coming. ob dot ob1 I have. So I'll just change it to ob dot message. So let me print it quickly. Let me show you the output. You guys are correct. You are getting null value, right? So you ask, right, why do I need a constructor? So you see, constructor is getting automatically called, right? Constructor is always getting automatically called the moment is getting object is getting created. So you can use this constructor to initialize your property. So where is my constructor? Here, right? My constructor in this, you can use something like this. There is a keyword called as this dot message. You can use this is a keyword to access this variable. Okay, using this message, this variable's value, I want to set it to bye bye, see you again, something like this. See you again, guys, something like this. I'm going to give some message and I'm going to initialize it something like this. So you see, I'm setting a message here. Where am I setting? Inside the constructor, right? Inside the constructor, I'm setting some value, and this constructor is automatically invoked, which will set my value. This property instance variable will be initialized with the default value. Okay, and it will be available whenever I'm using it. So I don't have, whenever I create an object, I have a ready-made value set to this message, thanks to the constructor, which is helping me in initializing this value with the help of this keyword. This is a keyword. We are going to discuss all these things in detail in the next session. But here, you see, with the help of constructor, we are able to initialize the properties, right? You can initialize n number of properties. So let me run this. Let me run this for you. You see, hopefully, you should get a message. You see, bye bye, something, whatever you have written, it's coming. Okay, so constructor is basically used to initialize the properties. And the moment you create an object, the properties will be initialized. And you don't need to call the constructor by yourself. The moment you create an object, the moment I created an object here, my constructor is automatically getting invoked. You see the syntax, my class, something like this. By default, it is calling this constructor. And the number of objects you create, that many times this constructor will be called. And you can set any properties, n number of properties you can set, and you can give them any values, whatever you want. Okay. Any questions, guys? Any doubts? Any questions? Any doubts with this program? All good? Yes, no? Feeling bored? Did I bore you guys? Okay. Public is mandatory. If you are creating in the same class, it's not mandatory. Okay. Okay. This is nothing but this holds the object, current class object. To access this variable, I have to use this keyword. This will be discussed in details in the next session. Okay. Now let me show you quickly. Let me show you quickly the primitive data types program. Okay. So you see here, I have taken, there is a class. Let me zoom out. So Ritya Kalyani, with practice, you have to practice. It will be very easy. Try to start from basics. You can understand everything. Okay. Start with the basics and practice. You will understand. Okay. So there are some properties I've taken. All kinds of data types I've taken. Boolean, byte, short, char, int, long, float, double. There is a constructor. There is a constructor. I'm not doing anything here. I'm not doing anything here. I've taken a parameterized constructor here. And I'm initializing them with the help of this keyword, which we have just seen. Okay. There is a function, non-static function. I'm just printing the values, whatever I have in my variables, which I have taken, the default data types I have taken. I just want to see if I don't initialize, what is it going to hold by default? So we have seen Boolean holds false, int holds 0, right? So that's what this program is covering, all the data types. Okay. So I'm going to create an object of this class, primitive data type, in the main function, and then constructor will automatically get invoked. I have to pass the values. Okay. And then we'll see what is it holding. So in the main class, there is another class I have created. I have initialized another class. So in this, I'm creating an object. Okay. I'm creating an object of my class and trying to print all the variables default data type. Okay. What is it holding actually? So you see all the different kinds of data types what we have taken here: Boolean, byte, short, char, int, long, float, double. In the constructors, they are getting initialized to their default values. I'm not initializing anything. You can initialize anything. Okay. In the previous example, I have initialized something, right? This DOS message is equal to something. So if you take here int and don't give it any value, by default it will hold 0, right? Same way, I want to check. I just want to check what is Boolean holding, what is short holding. And once they are initialized with the help of constructor, there is a non-static function. In this, I just want to print it. What are these values holding by default? I have to simply call this function and I will be able to see the output. So I have created an object. I'm invoking the function and I'm just running this code for you. Hope you will be able to understand this. So by default, Boolean is false, byte is 0, short is 0, char is holding some random Unicode, integer 0, long 0, float and double decimal data types. So this is all about default values of data types, how to use constructor, how to access static variable, non-static variable, static function, non-static function, and everything, guys. Okay. That's all from my side, guys. Today I will be leaving now, and Chandana will be taking the queries if you have any. And it was wonderful talking to you guys, and thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session. Chandana, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sunny. It was a wonderful explanation.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Guys, I'm sharing the attendance link. Please make sure your attendance.
Chandana, I would be dropping off.
Yeah, sure. You can.
Thank you, everyone. See you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
If you have any queries, please let me know in the chat box, please. I'm sharing the attendance link again. I hope there is no queries for me. So I will wind up the session for today. Tomorrow we will meet on the same time. Please make sure your attendance. Yes, Srusti, you have any queries? Chat GPT certificates already we sent. Maybe you just do one thing. Drop an email to edl@excelr.com. I mentioned in the chat box. Okay. And we'll check your attendance percentage. After that, you get to know what is the issue there. Jabi sir, like some health issues. So that's why today sir didn't came. Tomorrow he will be joined. Like, see, this is a 15 days program, right? We have to attend like 9 days, like 8.5 day. We are counting 9 days. So you people have to attend 9 days classes. That time it will be reach more than 60%. You will get certificate, participation certificate. I'm sharing again that feedback link. Model certificate. Uh, Sheikh Imtiaz, I'm not getting you. What is model certificate? Actually, today is 9th day, right? So 6 days are pending. Yeah, I'm sharing that email. edl@excelr.com. Shravanti, now I can't able to tell. After finishing the program, you will get to know how much percentage you have. Actually, Krutik Kumar, you said something. I have login, but in website it's not. It's showing no session there. About which session you are telling about? I am not getting that. Yeah, Sheikh Afisa, you can continue from today itself. Like today also 9th day, right? Maybe it's a chance to get. Sheikh Imtiaz, for this program, we don't have any assessments. We have only classes and we are sharing that recordings and materials in the LMS and we are giving the participation certificate. That's it. Yeah, Pavitra, session done. If you don't have any queries, means you can leave, no issue. Sh- Sushruti from YouTube. Now I can't able to tell that. After finishing this program, you can get to know that how much percentage you have. Yeah, Vaishnavi, you don't have any query means you can please. Mohana Priya, you just drop an email to edl at the rate of excelr.com. I'm typing in the chat box. Guys, if you have any queries means please drop an email to edl at the rate of excelr.com. Kiran, you also like for any queries like edl at the rate of excelr.com. Please drop an email to them. They will clarify your doubts. Yeah, through mail. You drop an email to them. They will. My team will answer your queries. Sorry, we can't able to tell your percentages, Pizza. No, no. Mohan, today is not the last session. Remaining 6 days, 6 sessions are there. Today is only 9th day. We have a 15 days program. Yeah, Sumit, we can see that recordings actually. In LMS, you can get all the recordings and materials. Yeah, Sumit. If you don't have any query means you can leave, no issue. Assignments. Sorry, for this session there is no assignments, right? Then how can you send assignment, Sai Shri? Yes, Shrushrita. Shrustika. You can leave. If you don't have any queries means you can leave. Yeah, Harish. From today onwards it started actually. For 15 days. I think you got a mail also. Already you registered or not? You just go on registered. Tomorrow onwards, if you want like same session, maybe it is clashing, which you think you can join that same timing, like 7 to 9. Advanced Excel and Power BI classes also is going on. Aryan, please don't do like that because it will affect to the certificate. Submit only one registered email. Use only one. Okay, Harish, you can join tomorrow onwards that session, no issue. Firoz Rahi, you can get materials in LMS. Sorry, Poonam, we can't tell that attendance percentage now. After finishing the program, after that we get to know like how much percentage you got. No, Harish, from today only it started. You didn't check it seems. No, it is a Zoom live and YouTube live also it is there. Check once again, okay? Yeah, Lakshmi, you can leave. Yes, yes. Both the links are same in YouTube and Zoom. Shraddha, please mail drop an email to edl@excelr.com. If you have any query, they will clear you. I'm sharing the attendance link, feedback link. So you have to mark that attendance in that form. Lakshmi Prasanna, please drop an email to edl@excelr.com. Okay. There you will get the answer. Okay. I hope there is no more queries. I have taken 2 sessions, full stack development and advanced Excel. So what to do? So you did only 2 sessions, right? Which, like in your side, which is priority, you have to take that one. If you want Power BI, you can go that, or else if you want full stack, you can come here. Sirisha, we will inform that, okay? For now, we are going with this full stack and Power BI. I hope there is no more questions for me. I'm winding up the session. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We'll meet on the same time tomorrow. Up to that, take care. Yes, Lakshmi Prasanna. We can, we have to learn only one program. If you learn multiple program, also no use, right? We have to work on only one. Rishita, today ninth day only, not 10th day. No worries, okay? Within 24 hours, it will be updated, Arya. Please wait up to that. Sahiti from YouTube. Like you have a online learning ExcelR.com, no? In that website, go and register there. You can get to know, okay? Or else do one thing. Drop an email to edl@excelr.com. They will provide you all the things. Okay, guys, it is like more than 15 minutes. I'm winding up the session up for today. Take care up to that, guys. We will meet you on the tomorrow.